Earlier, we discussed the importance of enlightenment and understanding the Dharma body, which the Chan Buddhist tradition has consistently emphasized. Today, let's explore how to attain enlightenment and understand the Dharma body. Buddhists, due to various circumstances, suddenly comprehend the Dharma body, without a fixed method. For example, Master Sheng Yen attained enlightenment by throwing a stone that happened to strike a bamboo, producing a crack sound, leading to his enlightenment. Some have gained enlightenment by passing a brothel and overhearing someone upstairs saying, "If you're heartless, I'll leave." Others have laughed heartily after being kicked by Chan Master Mazudawi and, in that moment, attained enlightenment. Therefore, everyone's enlightenment circumstances may vary, there's no fixed rule. Even individuals with strong inherent qualities might attain enlightenment from a single phrase uttered by someone else. Here, we discuss a crucial method, Chan meditation. Chan meditation typically embodies the principles of great doubt leads to great enlightenment, little doubt leads to little enlightenment, no doubt leads to no enlightenment. Chan meditation generally involves 3 stages. Now, let's examine a case from the Chan tradition. During the Song dynasty, Master Qing Shan Weijing from Jizhou, Jiangxi, said, 30 years ago, before I engaged in Chan practice, I saw mountains as mountains and waters as waters. Later, encountering enlightened individuals, there was a phase where I didn't perceive mountains as mountains and waters as waters. But now, having found a resting place, I see mountains as simply mountains and waters as simply waters. This case generally means, before practicing Chan, mountains were seen as mountains, waters as waters. During practice, mountains were no longer mountains, waters no longer waters. After enlightenment, mountains were simply mountains, waters simply waters. Note that in this case, encountering enlightened individuals and gaining a starting point likely implies meeting a knowledgeable person who has attained enlightenment. Marking the beginning of practicing Chan, having reached a resting place suggests the completion of Chan practice, signifying enlightenment. So, roughly, it can be divided into 3 stages. The first stage where, before practicing Chan, mountains and waters were seen as they conventionally appear. The second stage, during Chan practice, where the perceptions of mountains and waters undergo a shift. The third stage, after enlightenment, where mountains and waters are perceived simply for what they are. Let's analyze further. Before practicing Chan, seeing mountains as mountains and waters as waters. This is relatively simple, it refers to how ordinary people perceive the world. We live in a world of experiences where, for instance, upon seeing chess pieces moving, we attribute it to the wind, or when hearing a sound, we search for its source. Sugar is sweet, vinegar is sour. So, we continuously seek various patterns, rationalizing and linking these found patterns, distinguishing what is considered rational or irrational, and thus, living within the realm of experience and knowledge. Now, on to the second stage. During Chan practice, mountains were not mountains, waters were not waters. This process involves questioning the initial stage of mountains were seen as mountains, waters as waters, starting to doubt. For instance, previously, upon hearing a sound, we would immediately associate it with an object, assuming that sounds emanate from objects. But is this perspective correct? Why should what we hear be determined by what we see, and not the other way around? In the world of a blind person, where visual perceptions are absent, sounds dominate. Their reaction to sounds differs from that of sighted individuals. A sighted person would immediately associate a sound with a specific object. In the case of a blind individual, upon hearing a sound, it might trigger an entirely different sensory perception, such as touch or smell. To summarize, for a sighted person, what the eyes perceive tends to dictate other sensory experiences. For instance, a sighted person witnessing a car accident might associate it with the sound of collision, or seeing a hand touching a foot might evoke a tactile sensation in the foot. Similarly, observing someone cooking fish soup might elicit the aroma for the observer. The visual sense often acts as the primary influencer, determining how other senses respond. However, in the world of a blind person, sight doesn't hold the same dominion. It's plausible that in their reality, sound takes precedence and influences not only touch but also smell. Now, which logic stands as the absolute truth, whether it's that of a sighted or blind person, is a matter that might not have a definitive answer. People's beliefs about what's right or reasonable and what's wrong or unreasonable might just be a manifestation of personal bias or attachment. Moreover, our cognitive patterns related to visual perceptions can also be biased. For instance, when confronted with unfamiliar text, a person might struggle to discern word boundaries due to the lack of familiarity, whereas someone proficient in the language could effortlessly segment the text into words based on prior knowledge. This indicates how past learning shapes our perception of written text. Similarly, our past learning continually influences how we perceive graphical boundaries, leading to the formation of logical connections, judgments of relevance, or determinations of what's right or wrong. Essentially, it all boils down to biases. Once you comprehend this, you gradually start to challenge various perspectives on things, much like the idea conveyed in the phrase, "Mountains were not mountains, waters were not waters." It's essential to note the significance of this ongoing process of negation. You have curiosity that drives you to constantly pursue questions, but your temperament might become restless. As you persistently deny this world, challenging every experience, it's akin to wielding a sword against these experiences, losing interest in this world. You realize the world is merely your experience or a play woven by attachment. Once this play is shattered, you might find the surroundings uninspiring, indicating a move towards the third stage. In the third stage, mountains are simply mountains, waters are simply waters. In the second stage, as the practitioner denies the world through meditation, disinterest in this world arises. It's like being in a prison, losing interest in the surroundings, because there's no escape. Then, unexpectedly, they find a candy in their pocket, something unnoticed before while outside. Enlightenment is similar. When you lose interest in all phenomena, suddenly, you discover something that was always there, something different from phenomena, not born or destroyed, formless, and complete in itself. It's not part of the phenomenal world, yet everything in the phenomenal world is related to it. Once understood, this thing renders everything in the phenomenal world as fleeting as a dream or an illusion. Even thoughts are as ephemeral as a dream or an illusion. The only task for a practitioner is to prevent anything from tainting this thing, to not let things cling to it. It's like not letting mud stick to a pearl. At this point, practitioners no longer use the negation from the second stage to deal with phenomena because negation itself is a form of attachment. What a practitioner does is simply to let go of attachment. Direct and straightforward, without resorting to complicated methods, just as the Sutra of Perfect Enlightenment states, knowing that everything is illusory, let go without using any other method. Letting go is enlightenment, without any particular sequence. Although the practice might still progress gradually, there's only one principle of the mind, it's like poking the sky with a stick. Of course, there are no more myriad delusions in the mind. This is what the third stage means by mountains are just mountains, waters are just waters.